Hello and welcome back. Tonight we're going to drift slowly together into the quiet beauty of the night sky. Not hurried, not loud. Just calm thoughts carried gently beneath the stars. Somewhere above you right now, beyond the ceiling, beyond the clouds, beyond the soft glow of distant cities, the universe is moving in silence. Galaxies are turning, stars are being born. Ancient light is traveling across unimaginable distances, only to arrive softly in your eyes tonight. So let your breathing slow. Allow your shoulders to relax. And for a little while, leave behind the noise of the day. Tonight, we'll explore some of the most peaceful and soothing facts about the cosmos, slowly enough for your thoughts to quiet, and your mind to drift naturally towards sleep. Let's begin. Long before cities, before electricity, before clocks or screens, human beings lived by the stars. For most of history, the night sky was not hidden behind artificial light. It stretched clearly above every village, every ocean, every silent desert. People looked upward not only for direction, but for comfort. Ancient travelers crossed vast lands guided by constellations. Sailors trusted the stars to carry them safely across dark oceans. Farmers planted crops according to the moon and seasons written in the sky. And when the world felt uncertain, people would simply sit beneath the stars and wonder. Even now, thousands of years later, something inside us still softens when we look upward at night. Scientists believe this feeling may come from perspective. When we look at the immense scale of the universe, the mind briefly loosens its grip on smaller worries. Problems that felt heavy during the day begin to shrink beneath the quiet enormity of space. The stars remind us that existence is vast and that not everything must be solved tonight. Some stars you see in the sky no longer exist. The light reaching your eyes tonight may have begun its journey hundreds, thousands, even millions of years ago. Light travels incredibly fast, around 300,000 kilometers every second. Fast enough to circle Earth more than 7 times in a single heartbeat. And yet the universe is so enormous that even light takes years to cross it. When you see the star Vega glowing faintly in the night sky, you are seeing light that left the star around 25 years ago. The bright reddish star Betelgeuse nearly 700 years ago. Some galaxies visible through powerful telescopes appear as they were before human civilization even existed. In a way, the night sky is a time machine. Every glance upward is also a glance backward through time. And perhaps there is something strangely comforting in that. The universe does not rush. Its movements unfold slowly, patiently. Over billions of years, stars are born inside enormous clouds of gas and dust called nebulae. These clouds drift quietly through space for millions of years before gravity slowly gathers their particles together. Bit by bit, pressure builds, temperature rises, and eventually, deep inside the darkness, a star ignites. Not with violence, but with balance. A quiet equilibrium between gravity pulling inward and energy pushing outward. Our own sun formed this way around 4.6 billion years ago. And even now, at this very moment, somewhere in the galaxy, new stars are still being born. Tiny lights awakening inside vast cosmic clouds. The universe is never truly still. But its movements are so slow, so graceful, that they feel almost eternal. Astronauts often describe space as profoundly silent. In movies, explosions roar through the cosmos, spaceships rumble loudly between stars. But real space is nearly silent. Sound needs molecules to travel through, air, water, solid matter. And space contains almost none of these. Beyond Earth's atmosphere, there is mostly emptiness. A vast quiet vacuum stretching endlessly in every direction. If you floated far enough from any spacecraft, you would hear almost nothing at all. Only the soft rhythm of your own breathing inside your helmet, the slow beat of your heart. The silence of space is so complete that many astronauts describe it as spiritual, a kind of stillness deeper than anything experienced on Earth. Perhaps that is why humans are so drawn to the stars, because somewhere inside us, we long for quiet too. The moon is slowly drifting away from Earth. Every year, the moon moves about 3.8 centimeters farther from us, roughly the speed at which fingernails grow, tiny, almost unnoticeable. And yet over millions of years, this gradual drifting changes the shape of Earth's tides, the length of our days, even the rhythm of life itself. Long ago, when dinosaurs walked the Earth, days were shorter. Earth spun faster, the moon appeared larger in the sky, but time changes everything slowly. Even celestial companions. Still, the moon remains deeply connected to us. Its gravity pulls the oceans into tides. Its light has guided travelers for thousands of years. And its soft glow continues to calm people across every culture on Earth. Many hospitals and sleep researchers have noticed that people often sleep differently during the full moon. Some studies suggest lighter sleep. Others show subtle changes in brain activity. The exact reasons remain uncertain, but perhaps humans still carry ancient instincts tied to moonlight, echoes from a time before artificial illumination filled the night. There are planets where it rains glass sideways. On Earth, rain feels familiar, gentle, rhythmic, safe. But elsewhere in the universe, weather becomes strange beyond imagination. On a distant planet called HD WT 9733b, scientists believe powerful winds sweep across the atmosphere at thousands of kilometers per hour. And within those winds, tiny particles of molten glass may fall sideways through the sky. Not softly, but violently. Elsewhere, there are planets with oceans deeper than Earth's mountains are tall, worlds of endless ice, worlds where darkness lasts for decades. And yet, despite all this cosmic strangeness, Earth remains astonishingly gentle, warm enough for oceans, calm enough for forests, balanced enough for sleep. Sometimes the universe helps us appreciate the quiet miracle of ordinary things, like blankets, like rain, like breathing peacefully in a safe room at night. Your body contains atoms older than the Earth itself. Every atom in your body was forged inside ancient stars. Hydrogen formed shortly after the birth of the universe. Carbon, oxygen, calcium, iron, all created deep within stellar cores through nuclear fusion. When massive stars reached the ends of their lives, they exploded outward, scattering these elements across space. Over immense spans of time, those particles gathered into new stars, new planets, new forms of life, including you, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, once belonged to stars. In a very real sense, human beings are made from ancient cosmic material. Carl Sagan once said, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." And maybe that is why staring into the night sky feels strangely familiar, because somewhere deep within us, we recognize home. White tea is often called the quietest tea in the world. Unlike black tea or green tea, white tea is barely touched by human hands. The young leaves are simply gathered during early spring, then left to dry slowly beneath soft sunlight and cool air. No heavy roasting, no intense shaping, no complicated transformation, just patience. And because of this gentle process, white tea keeps much of its natural character. Its flavor is light, delicate, almost difficult to describe. Some people notice hints of honey, others taste flowers, melon, fresh morning air after rain. It does not try to impress you, it simply exists quietly, the way moonlight rests softly across a still lake. For centuries in ancient China, white tea was considered so precious that it was reserved for emperors and royal courts. The youngest buds, covered in tiny silver-white hairs, were harvested carefully by hand during only a brief window each spring. Even today, true white tea remains relatively rare, and perhaps part of its beauty comes from that rarity. Some things in life are calming precisely because they are gentle enough not to demand attention. White tea teaches slowness. It reminds us that not everything valuable needs to be loud. Some teas become better with time. Most teas are enjoyed fresh, but pu'er tea follows a different path entirely. Originating from the misty mountains of Yunnan province in China, pu'er is a fermented tea that slowly matures over years, sometimes decades. Like old wood deepening in color, like paper aging in a quiet library, the tea continues changing long after it has been made. Collectors carefully store compressed tea cakes in cool, dry rooms, waiting patiently as flavors slowly evolve. Earthy, warm, rich, sometimes carrying notes of rain-soaked forests or ancient soil after a storm. Some rare pu'er teas become incredibly valuable over time, passed between generations almost like heirlooms. In parts of China, families even gift pu'er tea to newborn children, saving it for the day they become adults. There is something deeply comforting about that idea. A tea waiting quietly for years, trusting that one day the moment will arrive. The universe itself seems to move this way, not rushed, not frantic, but slowly unfolding in its own time. Many drinks we call tea are not technically tea at all. Peppermint, rooibos, hibiscus. These are herbal infusions made from flowers, herbs, roots, and leaves unrelated to the tea plant, and yet humans prepare them almost the same way they prepare tea, hot water. Steam rising gently upward, hands wrapped around warmth. Across cultures and centuries, people have always found comfort in this simple ritual. Chamomile has long been associated with calmness and sleep. Ancient Egyptians valued it for healing. Medieval monks cultivated it in monastery gardens. Today, many people still drink chamomile before bed, allowing its soft floral scent to signal rest. Peppermint cools and soothes. Rooibos, grown in South Africa, contains no caffeine at all and carries a naturally sweet, comforting flavor. Hibiscus glows deep red like liquid sunset and tastes bright and tart, almost like berries. Different plants, different histories, different lands, and yet the same human need to pause, to breathe, to soften the edges of the day. Perhaps the ritual itself matters more than the ingredients. Perhaps healing sometimes begins simply by slowing down long enough to notice warmth in our hands. In the United Kingdom alone, people drink over 100 million cups of tea every single day. That is tens of thousands of cups every minute. Tea has become woven deeply into British culture, not merely as a beverage, but as a social language of comfort. Someone receives bad news, put the kettle on. A friend visits unexpectedly. Tea? A cold, rainy afternoon settles over the city. Again, tea. During the 17th century, tea first arrived in Britain through Portuguese and Dutch trade routes. At first, only the wealthy could afford it. But over time, tea spread into homes, factories, train stations, hospitals, becoming part of daily life for nearly everyone. Afternoon tea emerged during the 1800s as a quiet pause between lunch and dinner, a small island of calm within the day. And perhaps that is why tea endures. Because modern life moves quickly, but tea asks us to stop, even briefly, to sit across from another person, or perhaps quietly alone, and simply exist for a few peaceful moments. Earl Grey tea carries the scent of a small citrus fruit called bergamot. Its fragrance is instantly recognizable. Soft citrus, floral brightness, something both refreshing and strangely nostalgic. The bergamot fruit itself grows mostly in southern Italy, where warm sunlight and sea air shape its aromatic oils. When blended with black tea, it creates a drink both bold and delicate at the same time. There are many stories about how Earl Grey tea began. Some say it was crafted for a British prime minister. Others believe it was inspired by diplomatic gifts from China. No one knows for certain. But perhaps uncertainty adds to its charm. Certain smells have a remarkable power over memory. A single scent can bring back entire moments. Rain against windows, old bookshelves. Quiet mornings before the world wakes up. Researchers studying the brain have found that smell is closely tied to emotional memory because scent signals travel directly to areas connected with feeling and recollection. Maybe that is why tea feels comforting even before the first sip. Sometimes healing begins with aroma alone. Tea bags themselves were invented almost by accident. In the early 1900s, a tea merchant named Thomas Sullivan mailed small tea samples to customers using tiny silk pouches. But instead of emptying the tea into pots, people placed the entire pouch directly into hot water. And just like that, a new habit was born. One small accident quietly changed tea drinking across the world. It is strange how often human history moves this way, not always through grand plans, but through tiny, unexpected moments, a drifting leaf into boiling water, a silk pouch dropped into a cup, a quiet discovery changing millions of lives without anyone realizing it at first. And tonight, perhaps your own mind is changing too, softening, growing quieter, like steam fading slowly into the dark. Sometimes the smallest inventions quietly reshape the world. Tea bags were never meant to exist in the way we know them today. In the early 1900s, a tea merchant named Thomas Sullivan mailed tea samples to customers inside small silk pouches. He assumed people would open the bags, measure the leaves, and brew them normally. But many customers simply dropped the entire pouch directly into hot water. And to everyone's surprise, it worked beautifully. The tea flowed gently through the fabric. Cleanup became easier. Brewing became faster. Soon people began asking for more of those convenient little bags. What started as a misunderstanding slowly transformed the daily habits of millions. There is something comforting about that. Not every meaningful change arrives through grand design. Sometimes life changes quietly, through accidents, through improvisation, through small discoveries no one planned for, much like healing itself. Matcha is one of the few teas where you consume the entire leaf. Most tea is steeped briefly and then discarded. But matcha is different. Special green tea plants are shaded for weeks before harvest, allowing them to produce more chlorophyll and amino acids. The leaves become darker, richer, more vibrant. After harvesting, the leaves are steamed, dried, and slowly ground between stone wheels into an impossibly fine green powder. The process is remarkably slow. It may take an entire hour to produce only a tiny amount of matcha, and perhaps that slowness becomes part of its spirit. In Japan, matcha has been connected to meditation for centuries. Buddhist monks drank it to remain calm yet alert during long hours of stillness. Unlike coffee, which often rushes through the body like a sudden storm, matcha creates a steadier kind of wakefulness, focused, gentle, balanced. Prepared traditionally, it is whisked carefully with warm water until a soft foam appears on the surface. The act itself feels almost ceremonial, a reminder that even preparing a drink can become a form of mindfulness. Oolong tea exists somewhere between green tea and black tea, not fully oxidized, not completely untouched, balanced between two worlds. Its flavors can range from floral and bright to dark and roasted, depending on how the leaves are handled. Some oolong teas unfold dramatically in hot water, slowly opening like tiny green flowers after rain. In China and Taiwan, tea masters often brew oolong using very small teapots and many short infusions. Each steeping reveals something slightly different. The first cup may taste light and floral. The second, smoother and creamier. The third, deeper, warmer, more complex. Oolong rewards patience. It teaches attention. Not everything reveals itself immediately. Some things unfold layer by layer, only if we remain still long enough to notice. Even the word tea carries the memory of ancient journeys. Across the world, most words for tea sound either like tea or cha. Both originated in China, but traveled through different routes centuries ago. The pronunciation tea spread mainly by sea through Dutch trading ships. That is why English says tea, French says té, Spanish says té. Meanwhile, cha spread by land along the Silk Road, which is why many cultures say cha or similar variations. A single word can hold the memory of oceans, caravans, merchants, and centuries of human connection. Language itself becomes a map of history, and perhaps there is something beautiful in realizing how deeply connected human beings have always been. Even through something as simple as warm leaves and water. Far from East Asia, another comforting drink quietly grew in the mountains of South Africa, rooibos, sometimes called red bush tea. Unlike traditional tea, rooibos contains no caffeine at all. Its flavor is naturally soft, slightly sweet, almost nutty. For generations, indigenous communities in South Africa gathered and prepared rooibos, both as a daily drink and as traditional medicine. Today, people across the world drink it in the evenings because it offers warmth without stimulation. No urgency, no racing thoughts, only calm. Perhaps that is why nighttime rituals matter so much to human beings. A dim light, a familiar cup, a quiet room. Tiny signals that tell the nervous system, you are safe now. Tea has even traveled into outer space. When astronauts left Earth and floated high above the planet, they still brought tea with them. Inside space stations, astronauts drank warm tea while watching Earth drift silently beneath them. Imagine that for a moment. Floating in darkness hundreds of miles above the world and still finding comfort in something as ordinary as a warm drink. Because tea is never only about flavor, it is ritual, memory, normalcy, a small thread connecting human beings to home even in the most unfamiliar places imaginable. Perhaps that says something important about us. No matter how advanced we become, how far we travel, or how much technology surrounds us, we still search for warmth. Some teas are so rare they cost astonishing amounts of money. Certain ancient tea trees growing in the mountains of China are treated almost like national treasures. Their leaves are harvested carefully in tiny quantities. The resulting teas may sell for thousands of dollars, not because they are magical, but because they carry rarity, craftsmanship, history, and time. And yet, even the most expensive tea in the world begins the same way as the simplest cup. Leaves, water, patience. There is a quiet lesson in that. Many things humans value most deeply are still rooted in simplicity. Iced tea became popular almost by accident during a heat wave. At the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis, a tea merchant struggled to sell hot tea beneath the summer heat. Desperate, he poured tea over ice. People loved it immediately. Cool, refreshing, new. And from that moment forward, iced tea became woven into daily life across much of the world. Even ancient traditions continue evolving. Nothing remains frozen forever. Not cultures, not rituals, not even tea. Perhaps adaptability itself is part of survival. Tea also contains compounds that may gently support human health. Green tea contains antioxidants known as catechins. Black tea contains compounds formed during oxidation that researchers believe may support cardiovascular health. Scientists continue studying tea's effects on inflammation, blood vessels, metabolism, and the nervous system. But perhaps one of tea's greatest benefits is simpler than chemistry. Tea encourages slowing down, and slowing down may be one of the rarest medicines in the modern world. A warm cup naturally invites stillness. Hands pause, breathing softens, thoughts become quieter. And tonight, as the world outside grows dim and distant, perhaps your own mind is beginning to soften too. Like leaves drifting slowly downward through warm water, like steam disappearing silently into the night. Tea does not need to promise miracles. It already offers warmth, stillness, ritual, and sometimes that is more than enough. For thousands of years, human beings have returned again and again to the same simple act: heating water, steeping leaves, pausing for a moment while the world slows down. Perhaps comfort has never needed to be complicated. In recent decades, tea has transformed in surprising new ways. One of the most playful examples is bubble tea. Born in Taiwan during the 1980s, bubble tea combines sweet iced tea with soft, chewy tapioca pearls resting at the bottom of the cup. At first, it was simply an experiment, a fun variation. But people loved the texture, the sweetness, the novelty of sipping pearls through wide straws. Soon bubble tea spread across Asia, then across the world. Today, glowing tea shops line busy streets in cities thousands of miles from where the drink first appeared. Some traditionalists argue that bubble tea feels far removed from ancient tea ceremonies. But perhaps tea has always adapted itself to human life. For one person, tea is meditation. For another, it is laughter shared between friends beneath bright city lights. Both are real forms of comfort, and perhaps comfort itself matters more than purity. The oldest known tea ever discovered is more than 2,000 years old. In 1990, archaeologists exploring an ancient Chinese tomb uncovered preserved tea leaves buried beside Emperor Jing of the Han Dynasty. The emperor had died more than 2 centuries before the birth of Christ. Yet somehow the tea survived, dry, silent, waiting beneath the earth for over 2 millennia. Scientists later confirmed that the leaves were indeed tea, a small, fragile reminder that human beings have shared this ritual for an unimaginably long time. Empires rose and vanished. Wars came and faded, languages changed, entire civilizations disappeared into history. And still, somewhere, water continued boiling gently beside tea leaves. There is something deeply peaceful about traditions that outlive generations. Tea is now the second most consumed drink on Earth after water. Every day, billions of cups are prepared around the world. In Morocco, tea is poured with fresh mint and generous sugar. In Turkey, dark tea fills tiny curved glasses. In Japan, matcha is whisked into bright green foam. In Britain, milk swirls softly into black tea during rainy afternoons. In Russia, tea steams from samovars during long winters. And across countless homes, tea quietly accompanies ordinary life. Morning conversations, late-night thoughts, family gatherings, silent moments alone. Tea crosses borders more easily than almost anything else humans have created. Because every culture understands warmth. Every culture understands rest. Perhaps that is why tea feels universal. Not because it tastes the same everywhere, but because the human need behind it remains the same. The tradition of adding milk to tea may have begun centuries ago in Britain. Some historians believe milk protected delicate porcelain cups from cracking under sudden heat. Others think it simply softened the bitterness of strong tea. Whatever the reason, the habit remained. And over time, people began debating something wonderfully small. Should milk go into the cup before the tea or after? Entire conversations unfolded around this tiny detail. Even scientists eventually studied the question. And perhaps there is something charming about that. Human beings often build rituals around ordinary things, not because the ritual changes the universe, but because it gently organizes the mind. A familiar sequence, a comforting pattern, tiny islands of certainty within unpredictable lives. In India, chai fills streets with the scent of spices, cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, black pepper. Tea simmering together with milk and sugar until the entire room smells warm and alive. Chai vendors stand beside busy roads, pouring steaming tea between metal cups in long, graceful streams. People pause briefly from the movement of the day. Workers, travelers, students, friends, everyone gathering around the same warmth. Chai is not merely a drink, it is atmosphere, connection, a reminder that comfort is often shared. Tea ceremonies exist in many cultures, not only Japan. In China, gongfu tea ceremonies unfold slowly through many small infusions, revealing different layers of flavor over time. In Morocco, mint tea is poured dramatically from high above the cup, creating soft foam across the surface. In Tibet, tea is blended with yak butter and salt to create nourishment against the cold mountain air. In Britain, afternoon tea became a quiet social ritual of sandwiches, pastries, and conversation. Different lands, different climates, different histories, and yet the same human instinct appears again and again to pause together. Perhaps rituals survive because they slow time. For a few minutes, the world becomes smaller, softer, more manageable. Many people assume green tea, black tea, and white tea come from different plants, but they do not. Almost all true tea comes from the same plant species, Camellia sinensis. The difference lies mostly in oxidation. The same leaves transform through different timing, different handling, different patience. Green tea remains fresh and lightly processed. Black tea darkens fully through oxidation. Oolong settles somewhere between. White tea changes the least of all. One plant, many possibilities. There is a quiet metaphor hidden inside that idea. Human beings change too. Not always because we become entirely different people, but because time and experience shape us in different ways. The same soul, different seasons. The finest tea often grows high in misty mountains, cool air, gentle rain, clouds drifting slowly through valleys. Tea plants growing patiently on steep hillsides where mornings arrive wrapped in fog. These difficult environments often produce the most delicate flavors. Because slower growth concentrates complexity. Perhaps nature itself understands something humans forget. Not everything beautiful grows quickly. Some things require patience, silence, stillness, and time. As your thoughts begin drifting farther apart, perhaps you too are slowly settling into quiet, like mist folding softly across distant mountains, like warm tea cooling gently beside a window after midnight. High in the mountains where mist clings gently to the hillsides, tea grows slowly. Cool air, frequent rain, soft clouds drifting across steep terraces. These conditions force the tea plant to take its time. And perhaps that is why mountain teas are often considered the finest in the world. Slow growth creates deeper flavor, more complexity, more character. The famous tea regions of Darjeeling, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, and the Wuyi Mountains all share this quiet rhythm of elevation, fog, and patience. Workers move carefully between rows of green bushes, plucking leaves by hand beneath the morning mist. There is something almost meditative about tea fields. The silence, the repetition, the softness of the landscape. When people say tea carries the flavor of its origin, they truly mean it. You are tasting rain, soil, altitude, weather, even the mountain air itself. Tea has inspired poets and artists for centuries. Ancient Chinese writers described tea as something capable of clearing the mind and lifting the spirit. Japanese tea culture shaped entire philosophies of beauty centered around simplicity, imperfection, and transience. In Britain, tea became tied to conversation, reflection, and quiet social rituals. Paintings, poems, novels, films. Tea appears everywhere human beings search for meaning in ordinary moments. Perhaps artists understand something important. Small moments are often the deepest ones. A warm cup beside a rainy window. Steam rising in silence, a pause between thoughts. These things seem tiny and yet somehow infinite. Even decaffeinated tea usually contains a small amount of caffeine. Many people switch to decaf tea in the evening, hoping for calm without stimulation. The caffeine content becomes very low, but rarely disappears entirely. Still, for sensitive sleepers, herbal infusions like chamomile, peppermint, or rooibos often provide a gentler nighttime ritual, and perhaps that is the real lesson. Not every body needs the same thing. Rest is personal. Comfort is personal. The goal is not perfection, only softness. The tea plant itself is an evergreen shrub. Unlike trees that shed their leaves in winter, tea remains green throughout the year. In the wild, tea plants can grow surprisingly tall, sometimes over 30 feet high. But on plantations, they are trimmed low so workers can easily gather the youngest leaves near the top. These tender new leaves are called flushes. The first flush of spring is especially prized because it arrives after months of winter dormancy, carrying delicate fresh flavors. Season after season, year after year, the tea plant quietly continues growing, patient, steady, unhurried. There is wisdom in plants that do not rush. Ganatmika combines green tea with roasted rice. Originally created as a practical way to stretch limited tea supplies, it eventually became beloved for its warm, nutty flavor. Some grains of rice even pop during roasting, giving the tea a soft, toasted aroma almost like popcorn. The drink feels grounding, simple, comforting, proof that beauty sometimes emerges from necessity. A handful of rice transformed ordinary tea into something entirely new. Tea leaves slowly unfurl when steeped in water. Dry leaves begin tightly curled and folded, but once warm water surrounds them, they open gradually, stretching, expanding, releasing color and aroma into the cup. In traditional tea culture, this process is sometimes called the agony of the leaves, dramatic phrase perhaps, but also strangely poetic. Transformation often looks like surrender. The leaves give themselves completely to the water, and in doing so create something beautiful. Steam rises, color deepens, fragrance fills the room. Watching tea steep can feel almost hypnotic, like clouds slowly shifting across the sky. Tea has even been used as a natural dye for centuries. The tannins inside tea leaves can stain fabric, paper, wood, and other materials with soft, earthy tones. Black tea creates deep browns. Green tea creates lighter golden shades. Even after brewing, tea leaves often continue serving a purpose. Compost for gardens, natural coloring, gentle remedies. Very little is wasted. Nature tends to work this way. Quiet cycles, transformation after transformation. The first known tea advertisement appeared in London in 1658. At that time, tea was still mysterious to much of Europe, expensive, exotic, almost medicinal. Gradually, advertisements framed tea as elegant, sophisticated, civilized. And over generations, tea became deeply woven into British identity. What began as foreign leaves from distant mountains slowly turned into a national ritual. It is remarkable how quickly humans attach meaning to ordinary things. A beverage becomes culture, a habit becomes identity. Tea even played a role in political revolution. During the Boston Tea Party of 1773, colonists protesting British taxation threw entire shipments of tea into the harbor. For days afterward, the water reportedly smelled of tea leaves. It is ironic. A drink associated with calmness became a symbol of rebellion. But perhaps symbols simply reflect whatever emotions humans pour into them. Tea has been many things across history: comfort, currency, luxury, medicine, hospitality, resistance. And still it remains only leaves and water. Researchers continue studying tea for possible cognitive benefits. Compounds like L-theanine and EGCG may support relaxation, focus, and brain health. Some studies suggest tea drinkers may experience lower risks of cognitive decline over time. Science continues exploring these possibilities carefully. But even beyond chemistry, tea may help the brain simply because it encourages stillness, a slower nervous system, a quieter moment, a pause from endless stimulation. Sometimes rest itself is medicine. Kombucha transforms tea once again through fermentation. Sweetened tea mixed with living cultures slowly becomes fizzy, tangy, alive with probiotics and bubbles. What began centuries ago as a homemade fermented drink now fills grocery shelves around the world. Tea continues adapting through every generation, still evolving, still changing, yet always recognizable at its core. Perhaps human beings are similar, always transforming, yet still ourselves underneath. Tea can also become a mindfulness practice, feeling the warmth of the cup, watching steam rise, listening to water being poured, taking one slow sip without distraction. Mindfulness does not require perfection, only attention. And tea naturally invites attention because it cannot be rushed. The leaves need time, the water needs time. Even cooling requires patience. Tea gently teaches what modern life often forgets. Not everything valuable happens quickly. Some teas absorb the fragrance of flowers during processing. Jasmine tea is created by layering fresh blossoms over tea leaves night after night until the leaves slowly absorb their scent. The flowers themselves are often removed afterward. Only their essence remains, invisible but present. There is something beautiful about that. Some things leave traces long after they disappear. Cold brewed tea steeps slowly for hours inside cool water, but the result becomes smoother, softer, less bitter. No boiling, no urgency. Just time quietly doing its work overnight. Perhaps there is comfort in knowing that while you sleep, something gentle continues unfolding in silence. Tea plants prefer acidic soil rich with minerals and rain. The earth shapes the flavor of the leaves. Volcanic soil tastes different from clay. Mountain rain tastes different from dry valleys. Every cup carries tiny echoes of the ground it came from. And maybe people are shaped this way too, by environments, by seasons, by invisible conditions beneath the surface. Black tea remains the most popular tea in America, especially sweet iced tea served cold beneath hot southern summers. Strong, sugary, refreshing, a drink tied deeply to memory and hospitality. And perhaps that is what tea ultimately becomes everywhere it travels: memory, connection, pause, a small human ritual surviving across centuries, quietly waiting beside us as the world keeps changing outside the window. Long before modern medicine existed, people were already turning to tea for healing. In ancient China, different teas were believed to support different parts of the body. Green tea for cooling and clarity, pu'er for digestion, oolong for balance and energy. In India, warm chai filled with ginger, cardamom, and cloves was used to comfort the stomach and improve circulation. In Morocco, mint tea soothed digestion. In Japan, monks drank green tea to remain calm yet alert during long meditation. Centuries later, modern science began studying what people already seemed to understand through experience. Tea contains antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and calming molecules like L-theanine. But perhaps the deeper comfort of tea goes beyond chemistry. Tea slows us down. And slowing down can sometimes become its own form of healing. The shape of tea leaves even changes the way tea tastes. Tightly rolled leaves open slowly, releasing flavor little by little. Flat leaves infuse more quickly. Tiny broken leaves inside tea bags brew fast and strong because more surface area touches the water. The leaf itself quietly tells you how it wants to be treated. Too bitter? Perhaps it's steeped too long? Too weak? Maybe it needed more time. Tea rewards attention, listening, patience. Tea also gently divides the day into meaningful moments. Morning tea to awaken softly, afternoon tea to pause and breathe, evening tea to signal rest. These rituals exist across cultures because humans naturally seek rhythm. Small anchors in the flow of time. A cup of tea says, "This moment matters too." For people living alone, tea can feel like companionship. For families, it becomes connection. And often, tea travels quietly through generations. Grandparents teaching children how to brew it. Parents passing down favorite blends in familiar cups. Memories steeped into rituals. Sometimes after someone is gone, their tea habits remain. You brew the same tea they loved, at the same hour, in the same old cup. And for a moment, it feels like they are still there beside you. Tea tea becomes memory made visible. China remains the largest tea producer in the world, followed closely by India. But tea grows almost everywhere people care for it patiently. Sri Lanka, Kenya, Vietnam, Turkey, Indonesia. Each region shaping tea differently through climate, soil, rain, and culture. Yet beneath all those differences, tea remains beautifully simple. Leaves, water, warmth. That is all it has ever truly needed, and perhaps people are not so different. Sometimes we think happiness requires more complexity, more speed, more noise. But maybe peace has always lived inside simpler things. A quiet room, a warm drink, a slow breath, and the feeling that for this one small moment, nothing else is required. In the wild, tea plants can grow surprisingly tall, sometimes over 30 feet high. But on plantations, they are trimmed low so workers can easily gather the youngest leaves near the top. These tender new leaves are called flushes. The first flush of spring is especially prized because it arrives after months of winter dormancy, carrying delicate fresh flavors. Season after season, year after year, the tea plant quietly continues growing. Patient, steady, unhurried, there is wisdom in plants that do not rush. Jinmaicha combines green tea with roasted rice. Originally created as a practical way to stretch limited tea supplies, it eventually became beloved for its warm, nutty flavor. Some grains of rice even pop during roasting, giving the tea a soft, toasted aroma almost like popcorn. The drink feels grounding, simple, comforting. Proof that beauty sometimes emerges from necessity. A handful of rice transformed ordinary tea into something entirely new. Tea leaves slowly unfurl when steeped in water. Dry leaves begin tightly curled and folded, but once warm water surrounds them, they open, gradually, stretching, expanding, releasing color and aroma into the cup. In traditional tea culture, this process is sometimes called the agony of the leaves, a dramatic phrase, perhaps, but also strangely poetic. Transformation often looks like surrender. The leaves give themselves completely to the water, and in doing so, create something beautiful. Steam rises, color deepens, fragrance fills the room. Watching tea steep can feel almost hypnotic, like clouds slowly shifting across the sky. Tea has even been used as a natural dye for centuries. The tannins inside tea leaves can stain fabric, paper, wood, and other materials with soft, earthy tones. Black tea creates deep browns. Green tea creates lighter, golden shades. Even after brewing, tea leaves often continue serving a purpose. Compost for gardens, gentle remedies. Very little is wasted. Nature tends to work this way. Quiet cycles. Transformation after transformation. The first known tea advertisement appeared in London in 1658. At that time, tea was still mysterious to much of Europe, expensive, exotic, almost medicinal. Tea is shaped by the same simple forces everywhere on Earth. Sunlight, rain, soil, patience. China remains the world's largest tea producer, followed by India. But tea also grows across Kenya, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Turkey, Indonesia, and many other places where people carefully tend the plants through changing seasons. Every region creates something slightly different. Kenyan tea grows bold and strong. Sri Lankan tea tastes bright and lively from misty mountain slopes. Vietnam is known for fragrant jasmine teas and delicate green teas. Yet below all these differences, tea remains beautifully simple. Leaves and water meeting quietly in a cup. And perhaps that simplicity explains why tea has comforted people for thousands of years. You do not need expensive tools to enjoy good tea. No perfect teapot, no rare equipment, no complicated rituals. A mug, hot water, a few quiet minutes, that is enough. Of course, beautiful kettles and ceramic teapots can make the experience feel special. But some of the best tea in the world has been brewed in chipped mugs, old jars, tiny kitchens, and thermoses carried through cold mornings. Tea does not judge, it adapts. It meets you where you are. Some people even collect tea the way others collect books or memories. A green tea discovered during travel. A black tea gifted by a friend. An oolong saved for quiet evenings. Each container holding not only flavor, but moments. Entire emotions stored inside tins and paper bags. Sometimes simply knowing that tea is waiting on the shelf feels comforting enough. Tea becomes a small library of calm. And like anything delicate, tea must be cared for gently. Too much heat, light, moisture, or air slowly steals away its flavor. So tea is often stored in cool, dark places inside sealed containers, protected quietly until the next cup is brewed. Perhaps humans are similar. We also lose something when exposed too long to stress, noise, and constant pressure. We too need moments of stillness to preserve what is delicate inside us. There is no single correct way to brew tea. Some people drink it strong. Others prefer it soft and light. Some add milk. Others add honey, mint, spices, or nothing at all. Tea does not demand perfection, only presence. And maybe that is why making tea can feel strangely healing, because for a few minutes, your attention returns to something simple. The sound of boiling water, the warmth in your hands, steam rising slowly upward. In a busy world, even small pauses matter. Tea reminds the nervous system that it is safe to slow down, safe to breathe deeply, safe to unclench the jaw, safe to rest, even briefly. Sometimes self-care is not dramatic, it is not luxury, it is simply putting the kettle on and allowing yourself one quiet moment before the world asks for your attention again. Tea naturally invites mindfulness because it cannot truly be rushed. If it is too hot, you wait. If it needs more time, you steep it longer. You notice flavor, temper, aroma. Without trying, you become present. And in that presence, something softens. The day becomes quieter. The mind slows down. Your breathing deepens. For a little while, there is only warmth, silence, and the gentle company of a cup beside you. Tea gardens themselves teach the same lesson. When tea plants are first grown, they cannot be harvested immediately. They need years to strengthen their roots, years before producing their finest leaves. Farmers prune them carefully, protect them from storms, and give them time. Nothing unfoldable grows instantly. Not tea, not peace, not healing. Some things unfold slowly, leaf by leaf, season by season, quietly becoming what they were always meant to be. Tea gardens require patience long before the first harvest ever arrives. When farmers plant tea bushes, they know they may wait 3 to 5 years before gathering usable leaves. Years of care. Years of pruning, protecting, watering, waiting. The reward does not arrive quickly. Tea teaches trust in time. And perhaps many meaningful things in life work the same way. Growth often happens quietly, long before results become visible. The phrase tea time itself only appeared after tea became deeply woven into daily life. By the 1800s, tea had become more than a drink in Britain. It became a pause in the day, a moment for conversation, warmth, and connection. To invite someone for tea was to offer comfort, a slowing down. And even now, people across the world still understand what tea time means, even if they drink tea differently. Because the idea behind it is universal. Human beings need pauses. Not every tea is soft and floral. Some teas are dark, smoky, and intense. One famous example is Lapsang Souchong, a black tea dried over pine fires in the mountains of China. Its scent resembles campfires, old cabins, and winter evenings beside glowing embers. Originally, the smoking process was simply practical, a faster way to dry tea during rainy weather. But over time, necessity became tradition, and the flavor remained. Perhaps many beautiful traditions begin this way, not through perfection, but through adaptation. Tea before bed affects everyone differently. Some people feel relaxed and sleepy after evening tea. Others become more awake because tea naturally contains caffeine. There is no universal rule. Some bodies love green tea at night. Others sleep better with herbal teas like chamomile or rooibos. Tea asks you to listen to yourself, to notice what your body needs. And perhaps that gentle awareness is already part of rest. For centuries, scientists have been fascinated by tea. Researchers studied its caffeine, antioxidants, essential oils, and calming compounds. Even today, tea continues inspiring research into brain health, heart health, digestion, longevity, and stress reduction. Tea is ancient, yet still mysterious. A simple leaf humans have explored for thousands of years and still continue learning from. Tea has even shaped language itself. The English phrase, storm in a teacup, describes making something small feel unnecessarily dramatic. A tiny storm trapped inside a fragile cup. The expression reminds us that perspective matters. Some worries feel enormous in the moment, yet from a distance they shrink. Perhaps tonight's worries may someday feel that way too. Small storms passing quietly through time. Tea plants remain green throughout the entire year. Even during colder seasons, they continue slowly gathering sunlight and storing energy. Not rushing, not stopping, simply continuing. There is something reassuring about that quiet persistence. The tea plant does not panic during winter. It waits patiently for spring. Maybe people need seasons like that too. Periods of rest, recovery, stillness before growth returns again. Tea even helped shape history itself. The Boston Tea Party, one of the events leading toward the American Revolution, began with tea thrown into Dark Harbor waters. A peaceful drink unexpectedly became part of political rebellion. It is strange to think how something so calming could also influence the course of nations. And yet perhaps tea has always reflected humanity itself. Comfort and conflict, stillness and movement, quiet moments unfolding inside a restless world. But tonight, none of that needs solving. Tonight there is only softness, warmth, breathing, and the slow, peaceful feeling of drifting farther away from the noise of the day, like steam disappearing silently into the dark. It is remarkable how often tea appears quietly beside major moments in history. During the American Revolution, tea became more than a drink. Floating crates of tea in Boston Harbor became symbols of resistance, frustration, and change. Something as simple as leaves in water suddenly stood at the center of world events. Tea did not create the revolution, but it became the moment where patience finally gave way to action. And somehow that feels very human. Even the quietest things can carry enormous meaning. In the mountains of Tibet and parts of Nepal, tea is prepared very differently. Instead of sugar and milk, people often add yak butter and salt. The result is thick, warm, rich, and deeply nourishing against freezing mountain air. Butter tea is not delicate. It is survival, calories for harsh climates, warmth against endless cold. And yet beneath all those differences, it is still tea. Still shared with guests, still poured with hospitality, still bringing people together around warmth. In Japan, even the path leading toward tea is designed to calm the mind. Traditional tea gardens guide visitors slowly through quiet spaces of stone, bamboo, moss, and water before they ever enter the tea room. Every detail has purpose: the sound of footsteps on gravel, light moving softly through leaves, water flowing gently nearby. The garden itself becomes part of the tea ceremony, a transition from the noisy world into stillness. Perhaps peace rarely arrives instantly. Perhaps the mind needs time to slow down, just like tea itself. Some people dedicate their lives to understanding tea deeply. Tea sommeliers spend years studying flavors, aromas, growing regions, harvest seasons, and brewing techniques. With a single sip, they may identify where a tea was grown and how it was processed. It sounds almost unbelievable, yet human beings have always devoted themselves to mastering small, beautiful things. Not because tea is necessary for survival, but because beauty and ritual matter too. Tea even extends beyond the cup into cooking itself. Matcha folded into cakes and pastries, Earl Grey infused into cream and desserts, smoky black tea flavoring sauces and marinades, jasmine tea sweetening fruits and syrups. Tea continues transforming itself endlessly, adapting to human creativity across centuries. And perhaps adaptation is one reason tea has survived for so long. White tea was once reserved only for emperors in ancient China. The youngest spring buds were harvested carefully by hand and treated as treasures too delicate for ordinary life. Most people would never taste them. Yet today, white tea rests quietly on shelves across the world, available to almost anyone seeking a peaceful cup. Something once considered unreachable slowly became ordinary. History changes that way sometimes. What once belonged only to kings eventually finds its way into simple homes, quiet kitchens, and sleepy evenings. Green tea has long been connected with longevity in many Asian cultures. For generations, people believed it supported vitality, balance, and long life. Modern science continues studying these traditions, exploring tea's antioxidants and possible health benefits. But perhaps one reason tea feels healthy is simpler than chemistry. Tea creates moments where people finally slow down enough to care for themselves. A warm cup, a slower breath, a quiet pause between the noise of life. And tonight, perhaps that pause is happening for you now too. Your thoughts softening, your breathing slowing, like steam fading gently upward into the dark night air. In places like Okinawa, Japan, where people are known for extraordinary longevity, many elderly residents still drink green tea every single day. Scientists believe the antioxidants in green tea may support health and aging. But perhaps the deeper secret is not only inside the tea itself. It may also live inside the lifestyle surrounding it. A slower pace, small daily rituals, moments of mindfulness shared quietly with others. Tea encourages a gentler way of living, and maybe the body remembers that calm. Cold brewing tea overnight creates an entirely different experience. You simply place tea leaves into cold water, then leave them resting quietly in the refrigerator for 6 to 12 hours. While you sleep, the tea slowly unfolds, no boiling, no rushing. By morning, the flavor becomes smooth, soft, and naturally sweet without bitterness. There is something peaceful about preparing something before bed and waking up to find it waiting patiently for you. Blooming teas almost feel magical when they open. Tiny bundles of hand-tied tea leaves slowly unfurl in hot water, revealing hidden flowers inside: jasmine, lily, chrysanthemum. What begins as a small, quiet bundle gradually transforms into something beautiful floating gently inside the teapot. Watching it happen feels almost hypnotic, a reminder that some beautiful things reveal themselves slowly. Tea interacts with every body differently. Black tea tends to be slightly more acidic. Green tea is often gentler. Hibiscus can feel bright and tart, while chamomile feels softer and calmer. For some people, tea comforts the stomach. For others, certain teas may feel too strong on an empty stomach. Tea quietly teaches self-awareness, listening to your body, paying attention, adjusting gently instead of forcing. Tea can also become a companion during grief. When words feel impossible, tea still offers warmth. In many cultures, offering tea to someone who is hurting becomes a silent way of saying, "I'm here, No pressure to explain, no demand to feel better. Just warmth held carefully between two hands. Sometimes healing begins not through answers, but through presence. A cup of tea gives grieving hands something small and steady to hold when the heart feels lost. Tea carries the flavor of the places where it grows, the soil, the rain, the altitude, the morning fog. A tea grown near Himalayan mountains tastes different from tea grown beside lakes or coastal plains. Even teas from the same country may feel entirely unique because each landscape shapes the leaves differently. When you drink tea, you are tasting weather, geography, and time itself. You are tasting a distant place brought gently close. Even tea bags continue evolving with the world around them. The earliest tea bags were made from silk. Later came gauze, paper, and eventually biodegradable plant fibers. Today, people think carefully about sustainability, plastic-free materials, and environmental impact, even in something as small as a tea bag. It is fascinating how much history, science, and human care can exist inside such an ordinary object. Tea plants themselves produce delicate white flowers in the wild, soft blossoms hidden quietly among glossy green leaves. Even after thousands of years, the tea plant continues doing what it has always done, growing patiently beneath sunlight and rain, offering itself leaf by leaf to anyone willing to pause long enough to notice. And tonight, perhaps you are noticing too, the quiet, the warmth, the slow, soft feeling of the world becoming calmer as your thoughts drift farther away, like steam disappearing gently into the night. Tea flowers are delicate, small, and surprisingly beautiful. Most people never see them. Hidden among glossy green leaves, the tea plant quietly blooms with soft white flowers pollinated by bees and insects. Yet commercial tea farms rarely grow tea from seeds. Instead, farmers carefully clone plants using cuttings to preserve flavor, consistency, and quality. The same traits repeated again and again across entire fields. Still, the flowers remain important. They remind us that beneath all the harvesting and processing, tea is still alive, still wild somewhere deep inside itself. Drinking tea can become a form of meditation without ever calling itself meditation. You boil water, measure leaves, pour slowly, wait. Your breathing begins matching the rhythm of the process. The mind that felt scattered all day slowly settles into one small moment, one cup, one breath, one quiet pause. Perhaps meditation is not about escaping life. Perhaps it is simply learning how to fully arrive inside ordinary moments. Some teas are aged for years inside cool, dark caves. Certain pu'er and oolong teas slowly mature in controlled humidity and stable temperatures, developing deeper flavors over time. The process cannot be rushed. Too much moisture ruins the tea. Too little dries it out. Balance matters. Tea masters simply create the right conditions, then wait patiently while time does its invisible work. And maybe human growth works that way too. Not forced, not hurried. Quietly unfolding in darkness until one day something richer emerges. Professional tea tasters may drink hundreds of teas in a single day without swallowing them. They slurp loudly to spread tea across the tongue, analyzing texture, bitterness, aroma, and balance before spitting it out. Their senses become incredibly refined through years of practice. Tiny differences most people would never notice suddenly become obvious to them. It is fascinating how deeply humans dedicate themselves to understanding even the smallest details of beauty. Tea appears throughout literature because it instantly creates a feeling of stillness. Writers from Japan, China, and Britain use tea as a symbol of contemplation, home, comfort, and pause. When a character sits down with tea, readers immediately understand the atmosphere. The world slows for a moment. And perhaps that is why tea survives across centuries so easily. Because every generation still longs for the same thing, a little peace. Used tea leaves continue serving a purpose even after brewing. Gardeners place them into compost where they nourish future plants. Nothing wasted. The earth feeds the tea plant. The tea comforts the human, then the leaves return quietly to the earth again. A complete cycle, simple, gentle, continuous. Tea itself can range from extremely cheap to astonishingly expensive. Rare harvests, difficult weather, special growing regions, and delicate first spring flushes can make certain teas incredibly valuable. Yet a simple and expensive cup can still provide just as much comfort as the rarest tea in the world. Perhaps value and peace are not always the same thing. Tea houses have existed for over 1,000 years, places where strangers gather quietly to talk, rest, laugh, exchange stories, or simply sit together without rushing. China, Japan, Turkey, Morocco, Britain, different cultures, same human instinct, to gather around warmth, to feel less alone. Even the process of withering tea leaves teaches patience. Freshly picked leaves are spread carefully across trays and left to soften slowly before further processing begins. Hours pass, moisture fades, chemical changes awaken flavor inside the leaves. Nothing dramatic appears to happen, yet transformation is already underway. Perhaps many important changes in life happen exactly like that, quietly. Gradually, invisible at first, sweet iced tea eventually became part of daily life across the American South. Strong black tea poured over ice and heavily sweetened against the heat of long summer afternoons. Not merely a drink, but hospitality itself. A familiar glass waiting beside conversations, family gatherings, and front porch evenings. Tea changes form everywhere it travels, yet somehow still carries the same feeling underneath. Comfort, connection, pause. Even teapots shape the experience of tea. Round teapots allow leaves to dance freely. Tall pots retain heat longer. Clay teapots slowly absorb flavors over years of brewing, becoming seasoned with memory itself. A beloved teapot eventually feels less like an object and more like a quiet companion. Glass and ceramic cups remain popular because they allow tea to express itself naturally without altering flavor. And maybe that is what tea has always invited humans to do as well. Become quiet enough to simply be ourselves, without needing to become anything more. Tea does not ask for perfection. A chipped mug can be enough. An old kettle, a quiet corner beside a window. Tea only asks to be noticed, and perhaps people are the same. Sometimes we spend so much energy trying to become perfect that we forget how comforting simple presence can be. For centuries, some people have even searched for meaning in tea leaves themselves. The practice is called tasseography. After drinking loose leaf tea, the remaining leaves settle into patterns inside the cup. A bird might symbolize news, a tree might symbolize growth, a circle might suggest connection or change. Whether or not anyone truly believes the future hides inside tea leaves, the ritual itself invites something important: reflection. Slowing down long enough to wonder about your own life, your hopes, your questions, your direction. Perhaps the leaves never predicted the future at all. Perhaps they simply help people listen more carefully to themselves. Herbal infusions have comforted humanity for thousands of years. Chamomile for sleep, peppermint for headaches, ginger for warmth and circulation, lemon balm for anxiety. Long before laboratories and pharmacies, people quietly learned from observation. They noticed which plants soothed pain, which calmed the stomach, which helped restless minds settle at night. Knowledge passed gently from generation to generation, steeped in memory like tea itself. The word chai simply means tea in many parts of the world. In India, Russia, Turkey, and many other countries, chai is not a special trendy drink, it is simply tea. An ordinary word that traveled across continents through trade routes, migration, and culture. Even language moves like tea does, crossing borders quietly, changing shape as it goes. Many people find tea helps them focus without the sharp intensity of coffee. Tea contains both caffeine and L-theanine, creating what some describe as calm alertness, awake, but not jittery, focused, without feeling overwhelmed. Students sip tea while studying. Writers brew tea before working. Programmers keep cups beside glowing screens late into the night. Tea becomes a gentle signal to the brain. It is time to settle in and pay attention. Morning tea rituals can shape the entire tone of the day. Boiling water, choosing leaves, waiting quietly while tea steeps. Those few minutes create a small space between sleep and responsibility. A buffer before noise begins. And maybe that tiny pause matters more than we realize, because the way a day begins often echoes through everything that follows. Tea releases caffeine more slowly than coffee. Coffee arrives quickly like a sudden wave. Tea rises more gently, no sharp spike, no sudden crash, just a slow, steady lift, kinder somehow, softer on the nervous system. Perhaps that is why tea feels less like fuel and more like companionship. Tea is also one of the simplest gifts humans give each other. A box of tea says, "I wanted you to rest," because tea cannot be rushed. It asks the receiver to stop for a few minutes, boil water, sit down, breathe. A tea gift is really the gift of pause itself. And maybe in a world that constantly pushes people to move faster, rest becomes one of the kindest things we can offer. There is no perfect time for tea. Morning tea, rainy afternoon tea, late night tea, tea shared with friends, tea held alone in silence. Tea adapts itself to human life so naturally that it never feels out of place. Always welcome, always enough. And now, after thousands of years, across mountains, cities, ceremonies, kitchens, gardens, poems, revolutions, and quiet lonely nights, tea remains what it has always been: warmth, stillness, comfort held gently between two hands. So as your thoughts begin drifting farther away, let the story soften now. Imagine mist rolling slowly over distant tea fields, the sound of water being poured, steam rising quietly into darkness, nothing left.